pointing the way. Hey there, what's going on? I am gonna tell you all about how I used magic to make myself into the kind of rock and roll performer I wanted to be. We are going on a hike here. It's sunset. It's a sunset hike at Rock Band Camp Club, and I just want to invite you. I'm Counselor Sam to come with me so I can let you know the 5 major things that I did to make myself go from somebody who was like, not confident on stage as a rock and roll frontman, to be honest, just not fully there, even though I had bands and stuff, to being like, yes, I got this, woo, and the change is before people would say, oh, that's cool, or you're good, or you have a good voice sometimes, or whatever, or that was awesome. But then afterwards, the compliments just became a lot better, and people are a lot more easy to convince that, like, oh, this guy can do it, you know what I mean, and say really awesome things that you want everybody to say or whatever. So I'm gonna tell you some of the things that I did. I guess I am gonna start off with one is gonna be the magic of voice, because at a certain point I did learn that voice is most important, and I didn't know that, and I wouldn't have guessed that that was the case. But what happened is that it ended up being something that was brought to my attention like years ago. I used to take private lessons from the guy who is the rock guitar teacher at the Musicians Institute. So I got a little bit of an inside look into the music industry in Hollywood and how it works and stuff like that. And the way that it went was like, they said that the voice is most important to like a producer and to like a career and stuff like that. So I started working on my voice, and those people were cool. They were trying to make sure that I didn't fall over into Dodger Stadium. That's Dodger Stadium there. So let me just now, do I come here for inspiration and crap? Heck yeah. Do I look at Dodger Stadium like, whoa? Yeah, on another video I've mentioned that I saw Paul McCartney on Hollywood Boulevard, and I actually spoke to Paul McCartney, but I heard him play Dodger Stadium from out here. And Ringo was on that show too, so it was kind of a Beatles reunion. I've been to a Nirvana reunion too, at Cal Jam 2018, and I'll tell you all about that one. But voice was the first one that I worked on to really get that confidence up and to get the compliments up as well, because I'd be in bands and they'd be like, okay, yeah, you've got an amazing voice, but we don't want you to sing. We want this guy to sing, or this guy wants to sing, or, this guy's doing a bunch of blow, so he wants to sing. So it's like, okay, all right. Well, they don't do that once you're past a certain level, then there is no suggestion of anything else. You'll be singing this stuff. And that's how, when you come into a band that way, it's like, whew, all right, at least they're going to let me sing, because, there's an inner competition with guys. Nobody wants to lose. Everybody wants to eventually get up to that mic and take lead and rock it out and show everybody they're in a rock star. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. And anyways, I thought I was crap, and my family's filled with very talented singing girls and stuff like that, so I would be told I was pretty crap as well. But one of the first things I did have to do was mindset. Voice, mind, really, because you have to start saying, like, I can do it. Start thanking the universe for performances that are beyond satisfying to your audience and things like that, and using magic in that way to get you the confidence. But anyways, voice, I was like, how am I going to get the voice there, And unfortunately, we know being an expert or being outstanding at something usually involves a higher level of minutes, hours, weeks, days, time practicing. And so I hadn't had that much singing practice in. And that was one of the things. It's like, you have to find a place where you can practice where no one can hear you at all. That's the best, because even people who are like, I'm a professional singer, and then they sing you some Broadway ass song or whatever, and you're just like, okay, that's fine. And I can see your technique and your tone and all of that kind of thing. But to me, that is not some meat and potatoes performance that has moved me and made me think, oh God, I wish I could sing like that person. Do you know what I mean? How was I going to work on voice, basically? That was one of the things I was trying to think of. Because, practice does help it. Practice does help it. And I started to notice that when you practice and anybody can hear you, like if you're practicing in your apartment or if you're practicing at your studio or anything like that, if someone can hear you even a little bit, out in the next room or wherever. This place is a Shangri-La. I hike here constantly. And it is a hidden gem here in LA. I really hope that my action cam is on, because this is a wobbly trip. Again, I'd usually be playing now. People say, oh, it's not plugged in. Well, yeah, but when you're a certain kind of a guitar player, once you get to a certain point, like you're in a band and you've played out a bunch, whether it be in LA here or in wherever you are, it's the same kind of performance, basically. It's just that more people come here, and so the audiences can be a little bit tougher, jaded. I saw Prince here. But in any case, I started finding places where I could work on my voice where no one could hear. Like right now, people can hear me. I can't work on voice really here. I can work on small voice to get warmed up. There's pro things. There's no magic key to skipping past the things that pros do, which is practice and really good practice. Warm up, use all the tricks of the trade. You want to lip roll through some stuff. You want to do some target practice. You definitely want to get your breathing on. You want to do the mechanical functions just to get your throat cleared. You got to clear your voice. Some people are like, I've got no voice, and they've never even cleared their voice before they start singing. Okay, well, you got to clear your voice first and clear your throat, and you have to do all of the things. If you're physically fit, like you're somebody who hikes and things like that, it's going to be great for breath extension and for volume, really, because those are the things that you're really fighting against when you are going from where you are now to the best voice you could possibly get. Where you are now, which is like, in your mind, you can do it perfectly. When you get to karaoke, you're just basically average plus. You knew your words a little bit more. You're going to blame the alcohol for the fact that you didn't nail it. Like, that video is not going to go viral unless you fell or something like that. And unless you're somebody who's, a pro. I've been to karaoke in New York where this girl gets up and it's like, well, let's give her the $20 a piece here. She's the star of the night. This person is a professional singer. And actually when I saw that girl, I was like, I had to talk to her, because I was like, how does she, but she probably went to stage school or something like that. She was so talented. And I was like, how does she sing so well? It's practice. You have to find a place to practice where nobody can hear you. And the reason I say that about the nobody can hear you is because when I was finding my Kurt Cobain voice, I could not even try inside of the studio that I was at. I have a studio in Sacramento at Godlike Studios, and that was the first place that I really had a music studio. My dad died, and I went back and I used a lot of the money to teach myself guitar and get myself all geared up. And that was the first time I bought a guitar and amp and had a music space, and that was the beginning of the journey many years ago. And so what I was gonna say next was, can you see me? It's getting dark now. And so I was gonna say that voice was the most important thing. What I noticed after years of saying, I don't wanna learn covers, I wanna do my own music, that type of a thing that I think that everybody who ever buys an instrument goes through or whatever, is it was kind of like, okay, sure, I didn't. Sorry, I'm gonna do a little bit of finger exercises on this puppy while I'm just getting warmed up. And basically it was kind of like, all right, I don't want to learn other people's songs and stuff, and so I decided I was gonna be like just singing my own music, and I did that for a while. And I taught myself how to play guitar by just turning on the radio and playing along with the radio, even before I started with songs I knew. But I used both. I used both recorded songs and the radio to really get me past those first few years of not being that great. And I noticed that this is how Jimi Hendrix had learned, and a lot of the other people as well. Play covers professionally before they got their money. So for years I tried just doing it with my own originals and stuff like that, and that was really dope. I learned a lot about music. I learned a lot about people. I mean, I was always making bands while I was doing this, so there was that part of it, you know what I mean? I was always learning, getting better. You know, you have to be good enough to attract the people who are going to be able to play the kind of stuff you want them to, and that kind of crap. So basically at a certain point I started going, okay, well, now I am going to play covers, and that was where the money was. You get money for covers basically, and I think of them as tributes, because you know, we will lose this music one day. It's just going to go by the wayside. There's so much new stuff, and it just, there's always a perpetual new. So, you know, the old falls by the wayside usually, and it will now as well. So one of the things I wanted to let you know was vocals. What else are the magic keys? You know, one of them is target, you know, tone focus. Any tone focus exercise is gonna be good exercise for your voice, and the more exercises you do for your voice, the more fit your voice is gonna be, if that makes sense. And so, you know, the more singers you can try to do and try to give what they are given, you know what I mean? Just be like, I want to do this as if it were a violin solo, so I'm going to do all of the notes, and I'm going to do them with the same dynamics that person is doing with, the same amount of cream, the same amount of clouds and breath, the same amount of passion, you know, because no matter how hard you try to mimic them to the best of your ability, you won't be able to. It's going to still come out as you, no matter what, you know. So the fact is you have to pray before a performance that you want to be an absolute copy, you know, an exact copy. If you want something to be really, really, really good, then you have to pray before those performances, and you have to pray for the voice too. You have to pray for it. You know, if you're someone like me who is a non-denominational spiritual person, then, you know, I say infinite spirit, you know, because for me that's non-denominational, and that's part of the magic of the voice as well. And there we go. You know, pick the songs that really, really bring out your passion for music and singing and things like that, and sing them. And then one day you'll go from a person where nobody says that sounds good, or you have a good voice, or they haven't said it since you were a baby, you know, and you're waiting for that again, you know what I mean? Or you're good at that. Oh, you could be a star, da 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 da. You know, when you're waiting for that again, it definitely picks songs that you're incredibly passionate about doing again. Like I would pick like some Paul McCartney, and in her eyes you see nothing. I remember one of the times I snapped into the fact that I might have something was I was hiking Griffith near the Hollywood sign, which is enshrouded in evening fog now at sunset. We are further along in that hills range, as you can see. It's there in the distance. But in any case, I remember I was singing that after a sunset over there, and Adam Carolla, funnily enough, lived in that neighborhood. He was walking his dog. He looked at me like, who is this? You know. But in any case, this dude said, wow, you can sing. And I said, you what, sir? I said, what? And he said something. The second time it was, well, you really sound like you enjoyed that or something. You know what I mean? He realized he had given a pretty generous compliment. So he reeled it back because I asked him to repeat it, because I was the annoying person who asked you to repeat a really generous comment. But it really snapped me out of, my bubble, my dream bubble of the song, which is, getting into the dream bubble of the song really helps as well. You got to get into the dream bubble of the song, because the song is an enchantment. The song is a spell that the band is trying to cast on the listener. And they want you to do certain things with that listen. And they'll tell you what they want you to do. If they want you to get all broody and like crazy moody and blue, then that's what it is. If they want you to have a hard release, then that's what it is. If they want your heart to dance, then that's what it is. And as a singer and as a performer, your job is to not only deliver the notes, the rhythm, and the music, but you also have to make sure that you're phrasing and that your expression of the song is with the intention of getting the result that they are going for with you, and that they do get with you when you are totally just high on that song, like, My Sharona or something like that. You hear people do My Sharona, it's like, that's great. It's not like the recording. I'm not as excited as the recording. I'm so happy that you did it. You're not in tempo. The voice is not hammering on like it should be. And that's why I say you try to match up the recording as much as possible. I've done a Beatles and Nirvana tribute band. It's probably getting too dark for you to even see me anymore, so that's not fun. So I'll put it over here maybe for a second. I don't know. It's getting dark now, so I may just start filming the hike. I don't know if that counts as the kind of content that I'm supposed to be putting out, but I love you guys. And Sam is outrageous. Ooh, Sam. I just wanted to do that to feel vulnerable really quick. Vulnerable on screen. Now, this is one of the most beautiful parts of the forest, and this is where I feel like a male rock and roll Bjork, because it's the forest, and this is where I come to get the magic feelings. No, but seriously, this part of the forest always makes me feel really like I'm in Lord of the Rings. But it also makes me feel like I have a luxury life, because I don't have a luxury life to a lot of eyes. But when you are manifesting, like you're manifesting, say, I want to move to LA and sing in a band, and we get paid money, and I'm singing and people love it and they flip out and we nail it. But you get that, you get what you ask for. Let me tell you, you get what you ask for. If you've ever dreamt of doing that, if you're just in your car riding home from work and you're dreaming of I want to do that and get money, because that's the most important part. We all know, next to being chosen by these apparently Lucifer murdering, child raping people to be in the music industry is one way to make that cash, and another way is playing out and making money, usually with covers, if we are making money, unless we're making money with originals, So I haven't put out an album yet. I've put out EPs, and I've had a Rockstar say it's rad about my EP, and I've just always been blocked by the fact that I don't have a proper lineup on the recordings. It'll always be a ragtag bunch of guys who I get into the studio who are around and who are willing, because in LA there are lots of different types of musicians. But I digress there. In any case, I guess I'm just gonna leave it on vocals right there. You have to do all of those things. And just to recap, so that you actually don't even have to hire me as any kind of rock and roll coach for you, I'll tell you all of the things that you need to do. And if you're in my community, I'll even give you videos of other people demonstrating how to do these certain things, but you definitely want to practice every day. You know, you need to find a place where you can practice where no one can hear you. The car is fine, but the fact is you also need to think about the fact that you need to practice standing up. You need to practice voice full out standing up, and you need to start holding an instrument or just being in front of the instrument. I don't need you to play it as much as I need you to start feeling like you are comfortable with it and singing at the same time, because you will see that it's its own discipline, and it's its own wax on that you have to get very comfortable with so that you can just fly in the songs. And I'm going to teach you, or whatever, I'm going to go over, if you want to stay here, the easiest way to learn how to play any song that's, like, say, out of all of the songs in the world, like millions of songs, all of the ones on the simpler half of those songs, you're going to be able to play using just a few simple tricks that I use, that I tell you. And I'm not going to, like, hold them back from you now. Basically, they are tuning your ear, playing Tiger Claw, and, sounding it out to find everything. Just music school tricks that I learned not by going to music school, but by hanging out with a band in Sacramento who had gone to music school, and just hanging out with them for a couple of years and absorbing everything that they ever used. And I used that all to get to a band where it's like I would sing for 3 hours by myself. And first of all, it's like 3 hours. Let's poke some holes in what he's saying. The duration of the show was 3 to 3.5 hours. And yes, we did have 15 to 20 minute breaks in between the sets. So there are those things. But as well, I did sing for those 3 hours, and they wouldn't sing anything. Even Chris, God bless his soul, Chris would not sing anything, and he could sing too. He could sing. And I tried to get him to sing too, but he didn't want to sing. But in any case, with that band, it was really cool, man. It was like being in the Lost Boys a little bit, because we'd be playing on like Santa Monica Pier, and we'd have barely anybody there, like Demi Moore in that crazy movie Summer with John Cusack. And it would be like that, and the two guys who were there would come up and run up, and they would just be so excited to meet you, and they ask you, how did you learn how to sing Zeppelin? And I'll buy you a beer and stuff. And that was really cool, because I'd always wanted to be able to do that with strangers instead of just like people whom I know. And that's the experience that I'd had to a certain point. But I'm rambling now. I guess the first one is vocals. There's a very special way to use rock and roll to better your life in the way of the spiritual way, and also the life way, and also to get better at performing, because it's just great to have. You can make a video of yourself going full out, and people will love it forever, and your grandkids are going to be like, you are a rock star, you're amazing. And you say, feels so good, thank you. Without the video, you don't have that. And I think we both know that no one's going to encourage you to do it. Probably I might be the last person. So go ahead and get in contact with, read the description and read the comment that I made so you can do whatever I'm supposed to be calling you to action. I want to see you on the other side. Break on through to the other side. I love you. It's Counselor Sam, Rock Band Camp Club. Hey, I'm not your lover. I'm not your friend. I ain't gonna let you. Oh God, dude, the Prince story. Lord Jesus, that is, oh no, it's so hurtful. Does anybody know what I'm talking about with Prince? Comment if you do. And I'm gonna go on my hike and sing some Phil Collins. I love you guys. Bye.